Welcome, everyone. This is Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about one of those things that people don't want to pay attention to, and that's going to be money. And today I'm going to be bringing on a financial advisor, performance coach, who is going to be sharing his experience with people, how they are in the mindset of wanting instant gratification, but how that can be a detriment to their future. Because we all have the ability to save. We all have the ability to create long-lasting wealth in our life, but not many people know how to do it. Not many people want to do it because you can give a person $1 million, and by the time the year is up, you're going to find that that person is just not equipped. And there's a reason why when a young 18, 19-year-old kid receives an inheritance, all of a sudden it's all gone. It's because we don't learn how to use money in an effective way. And it's not something that I'm telling you that you need to go out and buy a bunch of books and learn how to read money, because you might be in a position right now where you don't have the luxury to learn everything you need to know about finances. That's like the 529 plans. That's like creating holding companies, putting your LLCs in the holding companies, building a trust, understanding about ag exempts when you buy land. Those are going to be ways that you can save money, protect yourself, but not everyone knows about those systems. So the rich know about them, but yet the poor just kind of go along, and we look at the rich and we say, it's not fair that you have all of this abundance. It's not fair that you have all of this money, but yet those people work for it. Those people have built something in order for them to accrue that amount of money, that wealth. But yet we are not doing the same things because we are living in a scarcity mindset. It is the foundation of stress that we're dealing with. It is going to be the foundation of ignorance that we have not learned, but those are excuses. So at some point, we have to stop making excuses and start taking action. So the first bit of action we're going to be taking today is with Derrick in this interview, so you can get back on track in your finances and then reach the level of performance you need to in your life. Welcome, Derick Gant, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, doing really well. Thanks for asking.
Oh, thanks so much for coming on today. I have you on as a performance coach, an investment advisor, and you also have a podcast. So we're going to be talking about all that today. In the world of coaching, especially when it comes to performance, you're going to have your high achievers and you're going to have your low achievers. And there is maybe a magic formula, a certain mindset that you need, a certain tweak you have to make, a pivot you have to do in order for that to happen. And we're going to be dissecting all of that today. But in your own words, can you tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help them?
I'd love to. My name is Derick Gant. I am a 3-decade investment advisor. I started my career off helping people with their insurance and money needs. Over the last 25 years, I pretty much just specialized in helping people to build wealth through investing, their 401ks, getting rid of debt, all those things that are critical to building wealth so they can retire with ease and some confidence and comfort. In the midst of all that, I've been a college professor. Along the way, I've always been in investing, but I've done some teaching. I've also been a fitness instructor along the way, hence the performance coaching between teaching personal development, between fitness and performance. I like to think that in my book, The 24K Life Code, we deliver the basic tools that people need in every aspect of their life to get their best performance. And I said basic. I want to make sure I'm clear. I am an expert at money, and I like dabble in the other areas through all of my life experiences. I know we bring a lot of information and education to the table.
And there is something to be said about all the things that you have dabbled in, because it's all based on service. It's all based on helping people. And that is what we're bringing to the podcast, right? Coaching in Session is about helping people, coaching people in any aspect of their life, whether it be money, relationship, career, whatever, because we all need someone at some point in our life to help us, give us a boost, to give us some knowledge that we don't necessarily know. I know for sure I don't know everything. And that's why I hire people who know things that I don't know or things that I don't want to know. If I get a CPA, I don't want to worry about the accounts and payables. Give me the black and white at the end of everything, and I can see what's going on. Do we have to make some changes? And we go from there. But if I have to do it every single day, it's almost like editing. So like if you have to edit every single day, You might be really good at editing, but you just might hate it. We do have to understand, where do we shine? And I think that is where we can learn how to maximize our performance, when we know what we're good at and what we would rather delegate to someone else.
100%. I agree with that all day long, man. I might love cutting grass, but I can better use my time than being out there doing that for somebody else who loves to do it and gets paid to do it. I agree with you 100%.
And you're a better man than me, because I do not like cutting grass. I would rather use that hour to coach someone, to help someone, to build something that is going to be long lasting. My grass is going to keep on growing, and I'm going to be able to provide a job for someone. I think that's important, because as we develop and we become well off, is going to be a good word. It's good to be able to help other people around you. I learned this from a CEO of a company here in Austin years ago. And he was just a guy who kind of started a company in a room with like three other guys. He had this housekeeper at the time. Eventually, when he had a big company, he hired her to come in and clean the company. And I remember one time he was going in to do a show. I was there to watch the show. And he basically said, she has been with me for 15 years. He said, when you become successful and when you rise to a certain level, it is a magical feeling when you can look back and you can lift people up too. And I was like, that is a great way to be thinking about success, because not only are you paving the way, but you're also looking back and helping people and lifting people up to your level.
Absolutely, man. You don't want to be up top alone.
Exactly. I do want to get into the nitty gritty of the conversation. And one of the things that I think people suffer with, especially today, with all the uncertainties, all the hardships, and having a two-family working household, is money and stress. And I want to correlate that with being a high performer, because if you are stressed, most likely performance or being a high performer is going to be maybe one of the last things on your list. We are going to be diving into that, and I'm going to be leaning on you for your expertise in that field, because I know many people struggle with money, but it's not only because they struggle with money, it's because they don't understand that money can be in abundance. They operate in a scarcity mindset. What is your take on that, on stress and money?
Yeah, well, I think it goes hand in hand. I think that if people really were to analyze their stress is in life, and they really take a look at what worries them, 9 times out of 10, and that's a high percentage, man, it's money. Well, I don't know, my kid's sick. Okay, but what are you worried about your kid being sick? Well, can I afford to take him to the doctor? Can we afford the surgery? Can we afford to pay the medical bills? Can we afford the copay? 76% of people making $50,000 or less don't have one dime anywhere, right? 51% of people that make $100,000 or less don't have one dime saved, and they have $6,000, $7,000 of credit card debt. So I think that it is a direct correlation. I'm not suggesting that money solves all problems. What I am suggesting is that you're 100% correct. If you're a high performer and you happen to be high performing very well in your field of expertise, but you're mishandling your money, you're still stressed out. And at some point, that stress is going to affect your health. It's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect eventually your ability to continue to be a high performer. And then that turns around and affects your money again, because you're not going to get that raise. You might get right sized if you're not really being a high performer. I think the correlation is definitely there. And when we look at all of our ailments in life, our mortgages, our cars, our insurances, our phones, all the things require money. Our fitness requires money. You'd hire the best personal trainer or personal chef you could if money wasn't an issue.
We do have to look at the aspect of, why do people struggle with money? Is it something that they're not taught at a young age, so they mishandle it later on? Is it because we see social media, we see all the people driving fast cars or wearing all this jewelry, and then we create a lifestyle that is out of our reach?
I hate to say this, but it's by design. People, they were 100% correct in your initial analysis. It's not taught. Right now, there's a couple states, I know Ohio, Michigan, and a couple other states have mandated that schools add personal finance literacy to the curriculum. But the reality is that even adding that isn't going to do everything that we needed to do. And the reason why is, yes, we see the flash in the pans on Instagram and social media. But what about all the things that you see on the street, on the TV shows? It's on sale. Get it now, 30% off. You'll never get this chance again. People go, oh my God, I better go get it now because I'm going to miss this. It's FOMO, the fear of missing out. It drives people. They don't have these advertisers spending billions of dollars on Super Bowl commercials for no reason. It works and it drives people to want to be like accepted. If I wear these shoes, I'm accepted. If I go to these places, I'm accepted. If I take these pictures in these places wearing these clothes, I'm better accepted. The whole system is driven to get into people's wallets. I can tell you this much. To give you an example, I have a couple. They're over 60 and they have $90,000 of credit card debt. Credit card, not debt, credit card debt. And what they did was they wanted to refurbish their house. So they put it on credit, 90 days, same as cash, or 360 days, same as cash. They've been going on vacation year after year, and they've been financing these vacations on their credit cards. They were doing fine per se, making the payments until the market changed, until interest rates started getting driven up. And all of a sudden they can't make the monthly payments. They come to somebody like me and say, I got myself in this mess. How do I get out of it? And when you tell them, which I told them, well, first of all, we've endured all the vacations we can stand for a period of time. Let's take a year, 2-year hiatus. And they did not work with me. They couldn't do it. They'd rather be in pain of the credit card situation than not keep using them to go on vacation. They couldn't hierarchy their personal greater good over their personal pleasures.
I'm going to butcher this one. It was a person who said this. He said something, if you can't downgrade your life for 1 year, then you'll never be successful, or something along those lines. I'm definitely butchering this quote.
No, you don't even need to say it's a quote. That's perfect. Just say it's yours. And if you can't downgrade your life for a year, then you'll never, exactly. Unless you're already where you need to be. But if you are still seeking some sort of financial foundation, some sort of rock, some kind of bedrock in your life, and you can't say, well, I'm going to just chill for a minute and not spend any extra money till I get there, then you'll never get there.
Well, let's do this. Let's break it up by category, by age, and we'll go 20, 30, 40, and then 50. Okay. What would be, like, according to that age group, the best thing that they can do? Typically, when you're 20, you might have gone to college, maybe accrued some student loans. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you're trying to start a business, be an entrepreneur. That's 20. 30 might be you have a career, you're established. 40, maybe you have a career established, you're trying to build something, midlife crisis. And then 50, you're thinking about retirement when you should have been thinking about retirement when you're 20. I want to get your take on that. What would be the ideal thing in those age groups for a person to do today to make sure that they are financially fit and that they can have the best performance?
Well, no matter which age bracket, I'm going to specifically go through each one as you ask me to, but no matter which age bracket, you'll never know if you can reach your destination. Number one, if you don't know what the destination is. So you got to decide where you were trying to go. And number two, you have to do an assessment of where you are. So if you're going to, I always tell my clients, if you want to go from here to California and say, I'm on the East Coast and you want to go to the West Coast, your GPS is going to ask you for the destination and the starting spot. Being completely transparent, honest, and naked, where are you right now? Write it down. How much debt do you have? How much savings do you have? You know, what's your income? What's your monthly expenditure? So you need to do an assessment at every one of those stages as to where you are right now. Then you need to put in, okay, this is where I'm trying to go. Now we can see, okay, well, what's the road to get there? Are we going through the Rocky Mountains? Are we going to go a little bit south? In your 20s, let's just say if you haven't gotten yourself in any debt, or if you have and it's not too bad, stop. If you don't have the cash to buy something, don't buy it. Now, I'm not saying don't have a credit card, but I'm saying even if you use a credit card, you should pay it off in 30 days. So when that payment comes due, you should not carry any balances forward. Don't spend anything you don't have the money for right now. Also, I would say don't count any money you don't have, right? My cousin Ray owes me $2,000 because I loaned him some money because he wanted to go buy a motorcycle. He promised to give it back to me. I'm going to go spend some money because I know he's supposed to give it back to me tomorrow. and I'm going to go spend some money that's based on what he's supposed to pay me back, don't do it because he's not paying you back. And if he does, make sure by having the money in your hand before you go spend it somewhere else. The other thing is to save. I know this is going to sound super aggressive, but save 25% of your money. If you bring in $100, 25 of it should be going into some sort of emergency fund, don't touch fund, future investment account. And if you put yourself in that habit, then like you said, when you're in your 50s, you'll be ready, more than ready to call it a day and retire and live your best life from that perspective. When you're 20s, it's save up, it's learn, it's invest, it's stay out of debt, cash and carry, start analyzing like what you really are passionate about from an investment perspective. And I'll give you an example of that. Let's say, for instance, that you're a young lady and you love, I don't know, Christian Louboutin shoes, or you love Coach bags, or you love Victoria's Secrets or whatever. Start to look at those stores, those brands, and look at their stock price. Start looking at what your friends are buying. Are they buying those things through good times or bad times? Is the stock price going up or down? When does the price go up or down? Because now you know in certain times, like the holidays, you might want to buy more. You might want to take your profits and get rid of some after the holidays, but start analyzing that. Pay close attention, and you don't have to do it to 20 different positions. Just do it to the ones you like, the things that you admire, your friends admire. Not Mary Kay, because I know they're a private brand, but makeup or Ulta, whatever the skincare company is. In your 30s, people in their 30s are starting to really kind of amp up their families. If you haven't, based on your question, starting today, if you haven't saved any money up in that point, I'm going to suggest to you that you use quasi a minimalist lifestyle. New parents want new things. They want the brand new crib. They want the brand new stroller. Well, if that's the case, then you need to host all those parties so that they give them to you. If they don't, I'm telling you, the baby doesn't know it's in a secondhand crib. I mean, they have no idea they're in a second. Buy a new mattress and put them in a secondhand crib. But use your money extremely wisely, hierarchy where you're going to spend your money, and then start to plan. Are you going to be really heavy on their high school, their preschool, middle school, and high school education? Are you going to be really heavy on their college? Because some people, like myself, I went to a private school. Thank God I got a scholarship to go to college, but most people can't afford to send their kid to private school and to college. So now you have to prioritize, well, where do you really want to spend your money? Then you need to smooth your parents into starting a 529 plan for their grandkids. That's your 30s. In your 40s, you're kind of getting the kids under control. They're a little bit older. Their expenses are a little bit more because they're driving and you need to go through driving school, the insurance rates. But at this point, your career should be elevating. So I would suggest that if you're in debt, stop spending on credit cards, period. Get yourself a financial advisor because, as you said, everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs some help. Everybody needs some guidance. If it's not your thing, find somebody and pay them to make it your thing so that you don't get behind the eight ball. Or if you're behind the eight ball, stay behind the eight ball. Then in your 50s, if you don't have your game face on by the time you're in your 50s, it's time to go straight to a minimalist mindset, meaning don't spend any money you don't need to spend. You don't deserve a vacation, so stop telling yourself that lie. You don't deserve a brand new car. Stop telling yourself that lie. You don't need those things. You need to analyze what you need and start putting your money in places that will appreciate, meaning assets, not liabilities. I would tell each one of those age groups based on some basic generic information as we move forward.
And I think all of that is going to be really great advice for those specific age groups, especially that 25% from your pay. Just kind of say, you know what, that's going to be savings. And the great thing about direct deposit is you can have that money put into your bank, and then every week or month or however you want to set it up, you can have money that is going to be associated, okay, because you know how much you're going to get paid most likely, unless you have like a business and it can fluctuate, then you might have to do that manually. But you're going to put in a certain amount of money that's automatic. It's like an automatic withdrawal that goes into your savings account. And then right there, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to pay attention to it. It's almost like if you know you have the money and you want to use credit cards to build like your credit score and stuff like that, great. But you want to have automatic payments set up. You want to be paying the full statement balance. You don't need to be carrying things over. Yet we live in a world today where we need the latest and the greatest. iPhone 15 is coming out. I don't know if you heard about it, but everyone needs it. They had the new Apple goggles that are, you could
Oh
have these
my God.
goggles
They're
that
like
are
$3,500 or something.
$3,500. And I'm going to see a bunch of fools walking around with those eyeglasses or headsets with a credit card that on the screen, because that is crazy, because a lot of people are going to say they need it because everyone else is getting it.
Exactly. Did you hear during pandemic when people were getting their weekly checks? I don't know if they were weekly or biweekly, but they were getting their, I think they were weekly checks, and they were making more money from these checks from the government than working. And they were taking the money and going getting like plastic surgery. Like, I mean, are you crazy? Are you kidding me? It just proves that we're a buy society. I mean, we are a go spend buy society, and the whole system is rigged for that intent.
And I had a client, he was a young guy, mid 20s. During the pandemic, he was unemployed and he was getting the unemployment from the government. He started working with me because he wanted to find a career. I said, not a problem. Like, we can do that, right? There's a lot of jobs, and he was in IT. So I was like, that's perfect because everyone is doing things remote. You're going to find a job very easily. So we start the process. We're going through the interviews and everything. Second month in, he goes, you know what? I don't think I want a job because I'm getting paid so much from the government. He basically said, you know what? I'm just going to kind of coast this out until the money runs out and the government stops paying me. He actually chose not to get a job because the government was giving him assistance. He decided to be a low performer and not be a performer because it was given to them. What is the harm in that when someone has that mindset where they have the option to not be strong or to not be a high performer and they can choose to be passive or weak?
Right. That's a great question, and it's an easy answer. Anytime you take the easy way out, you're going to fail every time because there is no easy way. I'm in my mid 50s, right? You're still real young. Telling you, when you take if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. It's not true. And this particular situation, this young man will bail at the slightest opportunity. Let's say he gets that IT job. He's going to bail at the slightest hint of a better opportunity that may not necessarily be better, but it looks better because he didn't do his homework. So it's the way your life manifests itself, the way it lays out is based on the decisions that you make. And when you make a decision, I hear this one a lot too. Hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay, great. When do you want to start? Well, I got a birthday and I'm going on vacation. So I want to start after my birthday, after I get back on vacation, which is in 60 days. Oh, so what you're telling me is that you want to get fatter, right? You want to do more damage before you get serious, which means you're not serious. It's a dangerous mindset that keeps you in mediocrity. And mediocrity is another word for average. And if you want to stay there, then keep making average decisions, which is what that young man or that guy made, whoever he was, young or old. And he's going to continue to operate with that operating system. And he should know better is from being in IT that doesn't work.
Yeah, but it was a new thing for a lot of people because they were getting all this money and they were like, well, why do I have to go to work? And that just caused a whole upshift in like the whole workers, and like people were looking for workers because there was a worker shortage because people were like, I'm not going to work because like why would I go flip burgers when I can get paid more for staying at home and watching Netflix?
Ideally, I'm sure you would prefer people to invest in a course, to invest in some education, to invest in an opportunity to further and level themselves up. But that's just not what mediocre people do. They make mediocre decisions. And you know, and this it may sound really mean and harsh. And you didn't say it, I said it, so you can still be the star of the show. But I'm saying it because I am here to serve and I am here to help. And even with my own proximity of people that I have immediate influence over, I started beating a big drum. Now's the time to go invest in things that will help you elevate your life, be it a book, a course, a mentor, a coach, whatever you need, and not just to come to me, but to go find what you need and invest. I start switching the language, invest, not buy it, invest in you by doing that.
I preach that same and I beat that same drum every single day.
They had to carry any burden of what I was saying.
And there's no burden in my life because if someone wants to attack me, I welcome it because at the end of the day, I'm going to take them to the cleaners. Because when it comes to conversation, when it comes to mindset, there's a way of thinking. And most people are going to have holes in the way they think. Just how that young IT guy, he had a hole in his thinking. He wasn't looking for the future. Just how people are stacking up credit card debt, going on vacations every year, trying to live a baller lifestyle, but yet they're not doing things that are going to bring them more happiness and fulfillment in the future. That is a detriment to their life and to their future. So we do have to get out of that mindset. And so many people live in this idea of get rich quick. I'm going to win the lotto. I'm going to go gamble. I'm going to go do something that's going to give me an abundance of money. Yet they don't understand the best way to build wealth or riches, if you want to say at that low level, is to create a foundation in something and then build it up every single day. Put in some work, put in work in you. If you're out of shape, get in shape. If you're not financially fit, become financially fit. If you're illiterate in finances, become literate in finances. Not everyone's going to be perfect, but we all can do things that are going to make us better equipped to handle the things that we are not maybe all stars in.
Right. You're 100% correct. And the reality is that, and you don't have the time to become proficient. Like, say, for instance, you mentioned financial literacy, just succumb and pay for it. And then be smart enough to pay attention to that person that you hire, because people do that too, right? They hire athletes, do it all the time. They hire a professional and then they don't pay attention to what's going on. And all of a sudden their money's gone. But you were really on to something when you were talking about, listen, it is imperative for people to recognize how their decisions determine their outcomes. And if you're so short-sighted that you can't assess the reality that maybe I shouldn't spend every dime, because next year, the year after that, the year after that, and 20 years from now, I'm going to need a little bit of help, and they're going to be lost. And so you're 100% right in that. And the other thing about that is that, let's take the statistics of people that win the lottery. 85% of people who win the lottery are broke within 5 years because they don't have the foundation you just mentioned. They're broke because they don't have the foundation. How can people lose that much money? They're broke because they have a broke mentality, and they're going to always be like that unless they level up and make the appropriate changes. And they don't have to
And
trust me. Go Google it.
oh no, you are completely right when it comes to winners, and then they don't have the foundation, they don't have the literacy. And I always say you don't have to go 100% in doing something. So if you want to learn about accounting, learn the basics, the bare minimum, maybe balancing checkbooks and stuff like that. You do want to have some level of basic knowledge. And then from there, you can hire someone so you can know if they're doing a good job. I have books behind me on like SEO and stuff like that and sales. So when I have my sales team, I know they're doing a good job. When I have my SEO guys doing stuff for the website and the business, I know that they're doing a good job. And then if they are not coming out with the results, I could say, why are you not doing this then? It's not like they're the expert. It's like, I know what to do. I'm just delegating my time. I'm saying, you can do better. All right. This is what you can do. I'm looking at what you're giving me right now. You're saying that we didn't rank for this word. Are you doing this? Oh, no, we're not doing that. Well, why not? But it's because I took some time and I learned a skill, but it's not to the point of I'm an expert.
Mm-hmm. Nope,
I
I
look for
agree.
an expert.
I agree wholeheartedly.
That's basically it. And then performance in a nutshell, right? We think just like that IT guy, I'm just beating him up right now. It's the concept of performance, right? Like we can choose to be high performers in our life. And most people are just going to take the easy road, as you said, because it's easier to take the easy road. And the work that you do is not just helping people take the easy road, it's to understand the detriment to taking that easy road. Because if you are going to squander your 20s, squander your 30s, you're not saving for retirement. Now you're getting 40. Now your back starts hurting, your knees start hurting, and then you're like getting worried. All of that can be avoided. All of that can be avoided if you get an advisor, get a coach, get someone who knows what they're doing, that they can help you along the way, someone who has helped people before. And that is what you do. And that is what I want people to reach out to you to get, because there's so many people in this world who are suffering because of finances and because they don't know any better.
I call it living in quiet desperation, man. I do. I call it people are living in quiet because they're not going to say they're struggling and they're suffering, but they're living in quiet desperation.
Exactly. And as we begin to wrap up, I would love to get some final words from you. And then please tell the audience where they can find you so they can get their finances in check finally.
Absolutely. My final thoughts are to just be honest with yourself. If you're comfortable with the turmoil and the stress, then that's just the truth of the matter. And my suggestion would be to just follow exactly what you've heard here, which is at the very minimum, start to learn the basics. You can go real far off the basics. Just think if you knew the basics of eating healthy and that's all you did was just the basics. Most likely you're going to be healthy if you just stick to that. The same thing goes with finance, your fitness, your spiritual life, your relationships, and basic communication. My thing would be, look, make a decision, understand that you've made a decision, so you've changed as soon as you adopt and own that decision. The point and the problem is that other people haven't seen the results of the decision you made. So you can't let those outsiders bring you down. You have to stick with what you've decided, come hell or high water, because the results will come. And then they will say, man, that happened to you overnight. How did you do that? And then you'll say, I decided 2 years ago, I was going to stop eating potato chips. I was going to stop eating crazy. I was going to stop buying every new iPhone. I did that. I bought every new iPhone until I said, this is crazy. It's crazy. I think I stopped at 12. And that would be my parting words. So you're going to make a decision. You're going to be serious about it. You're going to stick to it. But people aren't going to see the results. So when you say what you're doing, they're not going to believe you. And you cannot let that deter you from continuing to run your race your way. How you can get a hold of me is you can go to my website. It's DerickGant.com, and it's Derrick with one R, Derick, Gant.com. And you can get access to the books. You can get access to the performance coaching, money coaching. We have a team of about 7 people that are associate coaches that help you get where you need to be, that will actually enable and hold your hand. And that may sound crazy, but some people need their hand held to walk down that path until you can let go. And all of a sudden you're riding the bike all by yourself.
And it is the process, it is building the foundation. It is understanding that you don't have to be stressed in your life for money reasons. We do have an opportunity today to make some changes, some big changes in your life for our future. So I encourage everyone to reach out to Derrick to get the coaching they need, whether it be performance, spiritual, relationship, or money. That's where he's going to specialize in, right? Is helping you get on track, because once you can get your wallet right, everything else seems to fall into place. I want to thank you so much, Derrick, for coming on, spending a little bit of time with us, and then sharing your expertise with us today. All right, everyone, I would like to thank you so much for watching that interview with Derick Gant and myself. We really dive deep into money. And I know when it comes to coaching, you might only think about personal development, wellness, fitness, and all of that. But money plays a critical aspect into how much you're going to do in your day. If you're stressed out because of money, you're going to be more likely to go home, sit on the sofa, and not do anything. Or go home, sit on the sofa, and buy things on Amazon with money you do not have. So we have to understand that money or our finances play a critical role in our motivation, our dedication towards something, because stress is going to be like that anchor in our life that keeps us stagnant, that keeps us still. We talked about mediocrity. We talked about complacency. And if you're in a place of struggling, if you're in a place of hoping and wishing that someone comes to save you or something good happens in your life, then you don't understand what extreme ownership is, and you don't know how to implement that extreme ownership in your life. So at some point, you have to say, enough is enough. I know it's an investment. I know it's going to be something that you might not be 100% in, jumping for joy that you're spending an XYZ amount of money on getting a coach or getting a mentor, or getting a guide that's going to help you along the way to your goals. But that's the quickest way to your goals. What if I told you that in order for you to get from New York to California, you had to walk there instead of taking a plane? You might say, well, at least I'm going to be saving whatever my plane ticket fare is. But how long is it going to take you to walk from New York to California when you can do it in one plane trip in about 6 hours or something like that? when it might take you, maybe 60 days, maybe longer. I'm not even sure how long it takes to walk from California to New York or New York to California. But what I can tell you is that it's going to take a lot longer. We do have to make a choice. Do we value our time or do we value our money? Money is a renewable resource. I can always get more money. You can always get more money if you know how to do it. But time, that is not going to be renewable. Yes, you might be able to do more push-ups and run more, but that does not guarantee more sand in your hourglass. Time is a finite resource. We cannot get it back. So we have to learn in life, how can we leverage other people with other skills and masteries and say, hey, I'm struggling in this area. I'm struggling with my mindset, Michael. I'm struggling with my finances, Derrick. Can you please help me get back on track? And that is what we do. Because when you're on track, you're so much more effective. Imagine there's a train just constantly off track. That train is not going to be going anywhere. And if they do go anywhere, it's not going to be far and it's not going to be fast. So we do have to learn how to stay on track, stay on the rails. And if you are dealing with a plethora of bad habits, of a bad set of knowledge and skills, that can be tweaked, that can be adjusted. And you just need to figure out, what is it that you really want to do in life? If you want to manage your money poorly, cool, go for it. If you want to sit on the sofa, go for it. But don't be one of those people who hate on other people who are achieving wildly because you have chose mediocrity, because you have chose complacency, because you have chose weakness and not wanting to get up. At some point, you have to say enough is enough. You have to be willing to invest in yourself, invest in a coach, invest in someone that's going to help you get the results that you're lacking today. So money plays a big role in everything. I understand that you might not have the funds today, but if you just think in that scarcity mindset for quite some time, you're going to not have the funds for everything later in life. I've had clients who would save up 3 to 6 months just to work with me for 1 month, and we can change your whole entire life around. It's because of that belief, it's because of that sacrifice that we can be ahead, or we can become better equipped to know where we have our downfalls and our pitfalls, because we all have blind spots in our life. And some can be finances, some can be health and fitness, some can be career or relationships. Whatever that blind spot be, you want to do your best to fill it with someone who's going to always have your back, always going to want to say, hey, let's not do this, let's do this. This is going to be more effective. Effective is the name of the game, because when you're more effective, you're going to find that you are performing at a higher and more consistent level. And so your money is right, your mind is right, and everything else seems to be falling into place. But what happened first was you taking action. And I encourage you again to take action today. Get a coach, get a mentor, get a guide that's going to help you reach the places that you want to reach in your life. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me coachinginsession@gmail.com, and I'll see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone take care.